Greetings all! Today, we'll be examining the relatively common water-type Pokemon Remoraid and its uncommon evolution Octillery, collectively known as the Jet Pokémon. Though they may not look like to be the most dangerous of creatures to encounter, the members of the Remoraid family are potent beasts that can make good use of their sniping skills to make themselves a bit of a hassle to deal with.
Remoraid have fish-like light blue bodies with a pair of black eyes and small front fins and large two-piece tail fin in their back that is a lighter shade of blue, almost white. Their back end has a series of two dark teal stripes with a black line running across their lips and the side of their body, with their mouth containing a series of small, razor-sharp teeth used for making short work of the small prey they shoot down, and the top of their head having a horn-like growth used for attaching themselves to Mantine. Their evolved form, Octillery, on the other hand, have their true adult body, that of an octopus, with a vivid red body coloration and 8 tentacles, with 2 yellow sucker pads each, 2 of them primarily being used like hands up front. They have a series of matching yellow knobs on their spherical heads, with males having larger knobs than females, along with a ridge that runs down their face and around their black eyes, the mouth having turned into a tubular snout with which they are able to effectively launch special attacks. While it might not be apparent at first, the members of the Remoraid family are indeed octopuses, with their initial stage of evolution, Remoraid, looking like a fish as a disguise to allow them to more readily blend in with other life forms and potentially escape attack from the predators that typically dine on this particular family.
These beasts are noteworthy among Pokemon of their type for the capacity to use their internal forms to launch projectiles to strike targets from a great distance away, and are strong enough that they can use them to cause some serious harm in battle.
This is also helped by their abnormal list of potential moves, as these beasts contain a special organ that enables them to naturally harness a number of different elemental attacks naturally, such as Psybeam, Bubble Beam, and Aurora Beam, among others. And while they might still only be pure water types, this incredible versatility can make them tricky customers to deal with and certainly not worth underestimating, even if their overall defenses might not allow them to last very long in battle. They are also recognized for their exceptional tenacity in battle, especially at a young age, and are able to accurately strike the weak points of their opponents in battle and keep a strong grip on their environment as adults, so the creatures are able to possess Sniper as a base ability, while Remoraid can also have Hustle as a base ability, while Octillery have Suction Cups in place of it. On the other hand though, it is further possible for them to have a natural defect in the way their brains process information that can cause their mood and behavior to swing wildly out of control, potentially granting them Moody as a hidden ability. In looking at their stats, in the case of Octillery, it can certainly be seen that their offensive powers are definitely noteworthy, with their base attack and special attack stats being above average for a fully evolved water-type Pokemon, but everything else about them is pretty weak on account of their soft bodies and limited mobility, so the rest of their base stats are below average for a fully evolved Pokemon of their type. Even so, these creatures are quite durable and can certainly put up quite the fight, and definitely are worth noting in battle if only for the notable power and versatility at their disposal. As seen with Pokemon like Horsea, Remoraid are sharpshooters that specialize in using compressed streams of water in order to hunt for prey, sucking in large quantities of the material into their bodies before forcefully squeezing their abdominal muscles in order to fire out pressurized streams of water to knock out insects fluttering above the surface of the water, bringing them down to where these creatures can then readily feast upon them. Remoraid are extremely precise with their shots and are able to blast even moving targets from over 300 feet away, and are further so accurate with their shots that they are often labeled as the sniper of the seas in places like the Alola region. This works for both offense and defense though, for if these creatures need to make a quick escape, they can forcefully blast water out of their bodies to turn their mouths into jets, blasting them far away from potential predators far too quickly for said predators to properly react in time. However, where it is an option, these creatures have a much safer and more reliable option available to them if they really need protection. While the horn-like dorsal fin on their head might look like mere decoration, it is actually a developing suction cup that can attach itself to smooth surfaces much like a vacuum-producing hook. This abnormal design actually serves Remoraid well, as it allows them to attach themselves to the broad fins of Mantine to not only protect themselves from harm, using the Mantine itself as a defense against predators, but to also garner a free meal from any leftover scraps the host may leave behind.
Over time, Remoraid will become more and more attached to their Mantine host until they eventually become a semi-permanent fixture, waiting and developing slowly until they finally approach evolution as they simultaneously assess the host Mantine in fighting off potential threats to both their life and their hosts.
Once the time for evolution comes, Remoraid will leave their hosts and swim downstream from rivers to shallow pools of water, where they can finally evolve in peace without worrying about being attacked by predators. While evolution into Octillery restricts the movement speeds of these creatures and moderately decreases their base speed stat, they are more than benefited by this change in evolution by better offensive and defensive stats and a slightly wider selection of moves, such as the inclusion of the Wrap, Rock Blast, and Gunk Shot attacks, as well as an addition of one EV in attack to the one they already give out in special attack. From afar, Octillery will generally try to attack prey with their more powerful projectile attacks before lurching up close to them, but this will usually only happen if the prey is worth moving around to get to. More often, Octillery will merely wait for their prey to swim near them before blinding them with a spray of ink and subsequently lashing out with their tentacles to ensnare them tightly in their Wrap attack. This is a precarious situation for any creature, as it is nearly impossible to escape an Octillery's grasp once ensnared. Before their prey can even attempt to escape, Octillery will follow up their trap with a massive skull-crushing headbutt, more than capable of knocking smaller creatures out cold.
Octillery thankfully don't feel a thing, as their head contains a thick but flexible layer of calcium carbonate that even surgical saws have some difficulty getting through.
If Octillery find themselves in danger, such as in a predator attack or after ensnaring prey too strong to handle, they will rarely ever stand and fight, instead choosing to spray ink in the face of their offender before making their escape. Not only does this serve as a visual distraction, but it also contains a substance that dulls one's sense of smell, making it hard for Pokemon with a keen sense of smell to follow them, while simultaneously making the ink quite tasty and valued as a popular cooking ingredient in places like the Alola region. It is interesting to note that this power can further be used as a weapon in battle, as Octillery are one of only two Pokemon, the other being Graplocked, that have the capacity to use said ink in the form of an Octazooka attack, which they gain access to immediately after evolving.
Outside of combat scenarios, because Octillery have no internal skeletons to protect themselves with, they generally prefer to stay outside the view of prying eyes, and will usually hide themselves in any cavern or small space they can find on the seafloor, on a shelf, between large boulders, or even inside of a pot if they are on land.
Finding room is rarely an issue with the species, as they are able to squeeze the entire volume of their body into a space no bigger than a volleyball without much grief, and will in fact do so with only their snout exposed at the surface in case they are discovered by a predator or see something appetizing. Unfortunately, Octillery are not the most respectful of creatures when it comes to the personal space of others, and will often steal the nests of other Octillery if they feel like taking a nap and are too far away from their own nest. This is usually done much to the chagrin of the actual owner, but because the species as a whole does not particularly like fighting, it merely provides an inconvenience that will be readily rectified the moment the thief wakes up.
Though they might seem awkward to work with, and not necessarily a severe threat, the members of the Remoraid family are still clever creatures that can use their astonishing attack variety to make short work of anything that dares to get in their way. Their biology and evolutionary forms might make many scratch their heads in confusion, but once you get past that, they can be fairly reliable beasts that can spring some nasty surprises on opponents even if they think they have a type advantage.
Just do yourself a favor and try not to irritate them too much if you'd like to keep yourself in good shape. Otherwise, you might find yourself having an eye put out by these creatures as juveniles, or, even worse, have your head badly hurt from a single concussive headbutt from their clinging adult form. Thank you all for watching this video. It is always an honor to be able to speak with you all on the subject of Pokemon in a way that brings me great joy and happiness in my work. If you would like to keep tabs on past and future work, click that subscribe button, check out my work on DeviantArt, and don't be shy about following me on Twitter, where you can find pertinent announcements on upcoming work before it is officially posted. Links to both can be found in the video description. If you would like to support my work and help Miguel and I continue to produce more content for you and improve upon our presentation, please visit us at my Patreon page, which you can also find a link to in the video description. With that, I thank you for watching and I wish you well.